I just got back from the grocery store and I'm putting my fresh produce away. I wanted to show you how I store my fresh herbs in the refrigerator to make them last a little bit longer. I have mentioned this in other videos before, but it's been a little while. So I have cilantro here and I just keep it in a storage bag or a freezer bag, and then I put a cloth napkin in there, or you could do paper towel if you have it, and this absorb some of the moisture so that it lasts a little bit longer, and that way, you know, the leaves of your cilantro aren't wet sitting in there, so it does make it last a little bit longer. This is the produce that I'm still working on. I have some of it that I put away in the refrigerator, so usually I just add, you know, what I purchased to what we have left. So I just have a few pears and apples left from Saturday. We go through our produce pretty quickly because it's only Monday. And I have some bananas that are getting nice and ripe for smoothies. I bought some more. I'm going to remove the stickers, and I have been removing this plastic they put on the top because I want them to ripen pretty quickly. I ran out of bananas for my smoothies, so I want these to get nice and ripe. And I mentioned before, I really like using frozen bananas in smoothies because it makes it a little bit thicker. So I'm going to put these in my fruit bowls after I remove all of the stickers. Well, I have one overflowing fruit bowl, so I think I will just go ahead and wrap these up for smoothies and put them in the freezer. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but this is how I freeze bananas for smoothies. I just remove the peel and then lay them flat in a Ziploc freezer bag and lay them flat in the freezer as well. And once they are frozen, you can move them around anywhere, but they won't stick together as long as you lay them flat. And then I just washed my tomatoes really quickly so they're nice and clean. Just kind of poured them on a dish towel and dried them off really quickly, and that way they'll last a little bit longer because the moisture would make them go bad pretty quickly. I also keep my onions in the refrigerator. I know some people don't like to do that, but for me they last a really long time in the refrigerator. So I usually buy a bag of onions at the beginning of the month, and they will last me literally for the whole month, and they aren't bad or anything. I keep them in a Ziploc bag just like I did with the cilantro, and I have a cloth napkin in there. It's just a yellow one. And really honestly they last for a long time, but you know, just a tip in case you are interested in how I store those. And now I'm going to wash my lemons, tangerines, apples, and avocados. I'm actually going to use one in a little bit for dinner. And I've shown this before, but basically I'm just going to wash them and dry them before I put them in a fruit bowl. So all of my fruits and vegetables are washed or put in the refrigerator. I am getting ready to make some pumpkin chocolate chip muffins. So I have my eggs, oil, sugar, and pumpkin in here to mix together. And then I have my flour, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt in here, and I'm just going to mix it all together. I do have this full recipe recorded in case you're interested. I'll put the link for that below. One day I should just leave all the goofiness that goes on in my house while I'm recording. Anyway, I am just going to measure out my muffins and put them in the oven. Okay, my muffins are all set to go in the oven. I have just over 2.5 dozen. I also learned this from a viewer. She commented on one of my videos and she said to put water in the extra cups if you don't have enough to fill the whole muffin tin. I don't know why I didn't know that, but now I have been doing that. Also, another thing, and you might already know this, but if you get a little bit of batter on the edges, it's a lot easier to clean it up before you put it in the oven. So if you just kind of wipe around there with a cloth, that way it doesn't get baked on and it's a little bit easier to clean up. I just pulled my muffins out of the oven and they're looking good. I am just going to let these cool before I package them up, and again, the full recipe video is linked below. I'm getting ready to make some trail mix. I have talked about this in a previous food prep video, but my husband likes to have this in his car to snack on later in the afternoon. It's a filling snack, and you don't really have to worry about anything going bad. So I usually put a bag of it in his lunch bag for him to have later in the afternoon. And you can really use whatever you want in your trail mix. I just got the things that I know my husband likes. So I have dried cranberries, some dried apricots. I'm going to add some chocolate chips. I don't put a ton, but it just adds a little bit of a sweetness that he likes. You could definitely leave that out if you're trying to avoid sugar. I have some raisins, peanuts, and some of the dried baby sweet pineapple. You can also add a variety of nuts, obviously. I mentioned before that John doesn't like a lot of nuts, so I'm just going to put peanuts in. And I don't really measure, I just kind of put whatever in until I fill up the container. I decided to make enough for about a week. I didn't fill up the whole container because this is something that will not last in our house, and I'll probably actually hide this in the bottom of my pantry because this would be gone in a few days even if I filled up the container, and I'm just going to use it for my husband's lunch. We have tons of other snacks, but this is something that everybody loves, so it wouldn't last long. And I know buying all of those ingredients, I don't want it to be gone in like a week. Also, I cut the apricots and the dried pineapple into like 3 pieces because they're bigger than the other things, and that way it's a little bit easier to eat it. Especially the dried pineapple, they can be a little bit chewy, but if you cut them into a few pieces, then it's all about the same size and a little bit easier to eat. So I'm just going to put this in my pantry in the bottom. I have a couple pounds of organic lemons here, and I like to buy them in a bag because it's a lot cheaper, but of course they don't last forever. And I've mentioned before in food prep videos that normally I would juice some of them and zest them, and I keep the lemon juice in an ice cube tray, and I measure it out into 1 tablespoon cube so that I know how much is in each one in case I need it for a recipe. But as you can see, I have a lot of lemon juice, definitely enough to last for the month, and then I have quite a bit of lemon zest as well. So I am just going to cut these into wedges for my water because I actually don't have any lemons for my water. And I've been asked about this. I usually just cut some of them and keep them in the refrigerator, and then I freeze some of the lemon wedges for later, and you can definitely use it just like a fresh lemon wedge in your water. So I have like 40 lemon wedges, so I'm going to put some in this container for the refrigerator, and then I will freeze the rest in a Ziploc bag. So these are all set for the freezer. We are having breakfast for dinner tonight, and since I'm making pancakes, I went ahead and made a few extra batches so that I can do my toaster freezer pancakes. I recorded a whole video on that and how to make them with the pancake recipe as well as how to freeze them, so I'll put a link below. But I have my dry ingredients here and my wet ingredients, and I'm just going to combine them and make a lot of pancakes. So we have a big plate of pancakes here. Whatever is left, I'm going to freeze. I don't usually record this part of the meal prep that I do, but I am making dinner for Sunday, and it's Saturday evening, and I usually have something in the slow cooker, and then if I can, I make any sides that we need to have. So I'm just making a really quick creamy coleslaw. I have half of a cabbage shredded, and then 2 medium carrots that I cut into matchstick size pieces. And I don't ever measure the dressing, but I have about a half of a cup of mayonnaise, about a quarter of a cup of almond milk. You can definitely use regular milk. I have about a tablespoon of sugar, about a tablespoon or so of white vinegar, and then salt and pepper. And I just mix it together and pour it over the coleslaw and mix it right in. So I'm just going to stick this in the refrigerator overnight, and then when we get home from church we can have this with our dinner. And coleslaw is definitely one of the things that I think tastes a lot better once it sits for a while. So it will be in the refrigerator all set for us when we get home. We are going to have the zesty barbecue chicken sandwiches tomorrow after church, so I took out some hamburger buns for my guys to have. They were in the freezer, and I'll stick those in the refrigerator. I have my chicken in here. It is still frozen. Sometimes it's thawed, but I didn't take it out in time, but it will definitely thaw out in the refrigerator. And then I have the salt and pepper sprinkled on there. I have the whole recipe recorded, so I'll put the link below. I have some of the homemade Italian dressing. Just do 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar, and then a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And I know when I bought this, a couple people said, the way you pronounce it is something, and I don't know. I've always heard it pronounced that way, but I guess I'm pronouncing it wrong. I kind of went by the way Rachel Ray says it, but I guess that's not the correct way. I'll have to practice that. And then I have about 8 ounces of barbecue sauce that's going to go in here as well. And like I said, if I miss something, I have the whole recipe recorded for you guys. I just kind of wanted to show this part because I know a lot of you go to church and like the idea of having a slow cooker dinner waiting for you when you get home. Or you could even do this on a busy day if you have, you know, your kids have a game or something and you want to do it the night before. You could do this. And it is like 10:30 at night, so you know, who knows if I'm making any sense. But I just pour this right over top, and then I'm going to cover it and stick it in the refrigerator. And then in the morning when I get up, I can just turn the slow cooker on, and that is all ready with the coleslaw. And then we're also going to have some really quick and easy macaroni and cheese that I make on the stovetop. So that really helps with dinner on Sunday afternoons. So that's kind of what I do every time. I usually have a slow cooker meal planned out for us, and I put it all together the night before. It is Sunday, and I have a whole big bowl full of really ripe bananas for my smoothies, and I have shown this before, but I'm just going to peel all of these and place them in a freezer bag, and that way I can have nice thick smoothies. So I have plenty of bananas to go in the freezer for smoothies. And then I'm just going to cut some pineapple. I got 4 of these from Kroger the other day. I already cut one, but they were only $1. They are kind of small, but for $1, I thought that was a good deal. I have 10 containers of pineapple. I'm going to put those in the refrigerator, and these will be for lunches or for me to grab when I like to have fruit after I work out. I'm also going to separate some of the snacks. I have the ridge cut potato chip salt and pepper ones from Trader Joe's. And then I also have some veggie chips. And I just put these in sandwich bags and put them in this container. And that way my guys can grab them either for a snack or for their lunches. Okay, so this goes in my pantry, and that way my guys can grab these for their lunches or a snack. I'm also going to hard boil some eggs for egg salad for John's lunch, just to kind of mix it up. I'm just going to do, I think, 6 eggs, and it'll just be for a couple days because it doesn't last forever. Okay, so I'm just going to boil this. I actually have to do a few other things around the house, and you probably don't really want to watch eggs boil. And then I was working on recording this recipe. This is just a sneak peek. I recorded it for you guys, but it won't be up for probably a week and a half because I have a couple other recipes to edit and get up. And my battery is about to die and I'm almost done, so I have my hard-boiled eggs here chopped up, and then I just add mayonnaise, salt and pepper. John likes it very simple. So that is everything for my food prep. I hope I inspired you to do some food prep in your home, or maybe have given you some new recipes to try. Thank you so much for watching.